Good morning, Wrestling Inc. Get up, get going. Happy Tuesday. I hope you are teed up and ready for some pro wrestling punditry today. It is me, your managing editor of WrestlingInc.com, Nick Hausman, joined here as I am to get tickled. It's our good friend, EJ Cameron, the Ticklemeister here. Hey, what's going on, EJ? Welcome to the Wrestling Inc. Daily.
Man, it's the Ticklemeister. I strike again. What's up? Happy Tuesday, y'all. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're at. Good evening if you're somewhere and it's nighttime. Hope everybody's doing well.
All those Truman Show isms there. Yes, I hope wherever you're at, whatever time it is, that you are enjoying this program. And, man, we got a slam banger today and all week long for you. Obviously, this past weekend was AEW All Out. The whole game has changed, ladies and gentlemen. We are living in a brand new era of professional wrestling, 100%. We didn't have a show yesterday as I took a breath to celebrate Labor Day with Liz and Willow. So we are going to get to all things AEW All Out and some other big-ish WWE news that came out over the weekend. Nothing as big as what we got it All Out. Also, if you're listening to us in audio form, after the news, I'm going to be rolling out the audio from all the post-show scrums throughout the week. I was going to do them all at once, but it's like 2 hours long, and I don't really think that's going to be anything anybody's going to really want to listen to, but they're all really, maybe. Everybody's famous and like super topical, so maybe. So today, after the news, if you're listening in audio form, you're going to get the full audio from CM Punk and new AEW Tag Team Champions, the Lucha Brothers, media scrum. Tony Khan sat in on these two. Tony Khan sat in on all the scrubs. So you're going to get Punk, Tony, and the Lucha Brothers here later on. And then tomorrow, what am I playing in part 2? Tomorrow, Ruby Soho, Adam Cole, and more Tony Khan. That's what's on deck. But today, Punk, Bros, Khan. And then at the end of the show, for everybody, and by the way, if you're watching a video form, you know, Scrum's already up on our YouTube channel. But the mailbag, we're going to dive in, and we're going to look at all of these new AEW signings, who most excite you, all of that. And so let's get to it here, man. News you can use, news that'll leave a bruise, AEW All Out. I see everybody here already going all out in the comment section. Please do. Brian Bills 1417, Scrum was good stuff, Nick. Thank you. Yes, we'll pull up your comments here as we go along. And let's get your reactions to this. The show closes, AEW All Out, with the dual debuts of Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole. Cole, he's a heel. He's with the Elite. Bryan came out, and he helped to make this big save, and he cut this big post-show promo, sending the crowd home very, very happy. Before we get to some kind of backstage news on Adam Cole moving to AEW, what was your reaction, EJ? I was there in person. You were there at home. How was this? How did it come across to you, EJ, watching this?
Oh, it was awesome. Everybody knew that somebody was coming. Something or someone was coming. And the fact that we got like a double scoop of ice cream at the end of it was mwah. Because you didn't see the Bryan Danielson coming. Adam Cole came out. I was like, oh, this makes sense. This is great. Ooh, what's going to happen next? Music hits. Flight of the Valkyrie hits. Turned up version. Lost it. It was huge. Both of them were big.
Yeah, dude.
It was a big surprise.
Yeah, man, huge, awesome. I kind of had the feeling we were going to get both of them at All Out just because, like, Bryan, you know, there was so much pointing to he was going to be there. And then the Adam Cole thing, again, like, much for the same reasons and the same stuff he said in the scrums, it just made sense, right? Like, he's around these people all the time. You know, he really is so, you know, psyched up on that energy Tony Khan is putting out about focusing on a more traditional pro wrestling product. You know, his girlfriend, Britt Baker's there. A lot of reasons for Adam to go to AEW. Was not really surprised. I thought the ending of the show couldn't have come across any better. I mean, you know, I was there when Punk came to AEW. I was at the Dynamite. I was at the Rampage show at the United Center, and that was big. That was really big. I can't tell you which was bigger. I mean, Bryan Danielson coming down to clear the ring of a new heel Cole realigned with the Elite. It really doesn't get any better than that. And the fans just were going absolutely crazy. I mean, it was absolute pandemonium inside Now Arena on Sunday night. I don't know how else to describe it. It was
you could feel it.
Incredible. Yeah, it was incredible what happened, So Pollo Del Mar here, who, by the way, great job hosting Big Gay Brunch this past Sunday morning. Great way to start my all-out day. Adam Cole, my favorite signing. He's in his prime. Yeah, he's 32. I don't know why you thought he was older than that. Only 32, man. Dude, this guy's got at least a decade of great in-ring work ahead of him. And, knock on wood, no major injuries or anything like that. Yeah.
At least he's covered with dental. But But yeah, I didn't know he was 32. That's even better. Yeah, that dude is going to be a mainstay for a long, long time then.
We have Aubrey James here. Adam Cole is a needle mover. Cannot believe that Vince McMahon wanted Adam Cole to be a manager. I don't know where that came from. I don't know if that report is true. I can't see that being true, but maybe it is. I mean, Vince McMahon says and does a lot of crazy things. We also have here DX Vex. I heard people were losing their voice from all that cheering that night. John Alba's voice a little rougher than it was on the other side of that weekend. That's for sure. Let's say here we have Antonio Garcia, Adam Cole coming out first, made it surprising. Yeah, I think you're right about that. Like, once you saw Cole, you didn't know, are we also going to get Bryan, right?
Yeah.
Double pop. Dave in, AEW. And then let's see here. Anything else I want to read here? Oh, this was all about other matches. Okay. You guys are welcome to keep the conversation going about Adam Cole. So here's some more news about Cole coming to AEW. So Fightful, 2 reports here. First one, Cole made it clear well ahead of his original WWE contract expiring back in July that he was not willing to give up his Twitch account, as many other wrestlers had been asked to do following WWE's third-party content ruling last year. Cole's Twitch account was said to be non-negotiable in any WWE talks that he had. It was noted that WWE higher-ups weren't excited to talk to Cole about it in general because they didn't have much leverage on the situation, and that was even before they knew his contract came up in July. So first of all, Twitch is a very important thing to Adam Cole. No surprise. He talked about it in the scrums. He said he's proud of that community. Didn't want to let it go. Twitch. That is why Vince is losing people. Twitch.
Yeah. These independent contractors, he feels he needs to control every aspect of them. And he doesn't, man. If he had the wherewithal, he would realize that's a good thing to have them on Twitch.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't know why Vince doesn't like his talent, creating followings anymore. That's a very bizarre phenomenon. But Adam Cole, also according to Fightful, his AEW debut on Sunday didn't come as a major surprise to many within WWE, as much of the company expected him to sign with the company as of last weekend. And we already kind of got teases of that, little reports and everything. I don't know why WWE doesn't just spoil it. They're like, he ain't signing with us, he's going to AEW. Like, that'd be hilarious. Anyway.
Just blow it all up.
Yeah. Hey, you know what, Brian?
That would come back on him.
Yeah.
That would be the Mick Foley butts and seats. It would truly come back, and poetically people would go, oh, cool, I'm going to go watch this now. Bye.
Yeah. So Cole was hidden. Many people in WWE had nothing but positive things to say about Cole on his way out, especially over the way he handled the surprise contract expiration and the extensions. Let me put a button on that real quick. There's some more stuff here, but yeah, I guess the fact that his contract is up when it was, he says was a surprise to him. I find that hard to believe, EJ. I think he maybe pretended this was a surprise because he didn't think WWE quite knew when his contract maybe would be expiring, right?
It's that thing you do of, it's like, okay, if nobody asked me for my homework, I'm not going to say anything about it. But I know that it's due. I know when it's up. If nobody says anything, I'm just going to quietly leave.
And I think the most interesting thing about Cole and Bryan's debuts is how very different they are than CM Punk. And Punk addressed this too in the scrum. You're going to hear it later, talking about how, everybody had their own kind of experiences. Adam and Bryan's, I guess, was better than his. And so he just doesn't feel that way. But Punk came in, obviously took direct shots at WWE, dove into a scrum, said, don't anybody ask me any rude questions, which is, I guess, is right or whatever. But like really kind of tried to control the space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan could not have been any different. These guys came out, they were like, you know what? It did work out in WWE, but God bless, there's some good people there. I love them. I asked Adam Cole about his talk with Vince McMahon, and he was like, yeah, Vince could be intimidating, but I thought that was a really good conversation. Just didn't work out. And Daniel Bryan in particular made a comment where he was like, I'm at a place where you can ask me whatever you want, and it's not going to bother me. You could ask me about my sex life with my wife, and it's probably not going to bug me right now. Could not be any different than the please don't ask me any rude questions that we got from CM Punk. Really interested to see how the dynamic of having these three big names in that locker room is going to play out. I'm not trying to say that there's like any animosity. They're all very happy to work together. But like Punk coming in, immediately became the big fish in that pond. But he was arguably only the big fish in that pond for like a week, right? Mm-hmm. Like now, Daniel Bryan's in the mix. You got an Adam Cole there. How do all these players work together? What stories do we tell? I'm very interested to see what happens with the dynamics here with these new names in that locker room.
I feel the same way. And they're going to come in and be the vets already and locker room leaders, like off rip. Does that make a backstage sort of like energy shift of like who we're going to listen to, who we're talking to, who's in charge, who's the main dude? But I'm intrigued. I really want to see what sort of matchups we're going to get. I think there's going to be a lot of good blends of styles. I just hope that they are careful with Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson. Please be careful.
What do you mean? Like you got it because you're worried about him physically, or are you worried about the booking? Yeah. Okay.
Physically. We've seen him be booked in all sorts of ridiculousness. I just want him to physically be well. All of them.
Hey, Daniel said Vince McMahon was overprotective of him, and he wants to push himself. So I think we're going to see a very physical Bryan Danielson. I got to stop calling him Daniel Bryan, or as I put in the Twitter poll, Danny Bryan.
Daniel. Oh, God, yeah, I saw the comments on that one.
really screwed the pooch on that one. Really botched it. Anyway.
Screwed the pooch.
That's Southern. That's a Southern thing. You know it is. Anyway.
I know it is. It's a wild expression. Go ahead.
Sorry. But my dog didn't hear that in the other room. What are you doing? What are you talking about? Whose pooches are you screwing? Willow. It's just a colloquialism, Willow. Don't worry about it, okay? So Adam Cole, he was hidden at the Now Arena on Sunday night during the AEW All-Out pay-per-view, and it appears he told no one within WWE that he was going to be debuting for the show because maybe they'd give it away. Word is that Cole's deal with AEW was not, quote, official until Sunday, but those who needed to know were informed well ahead of time. The finish of the All-Out pay-per-view was discussed among the wrestlers involved late in the evening after CM Punk's win over Darby Allin. Oh, my God, that gives me anxiety just saying out loud. Like, the show has started. You have all these big names. You have no idea how this show is going to end. It comes across like a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy to me. Why wait? Why wait that long? I don't know.
I mean, you got to see what the energy of the building's like, I guess. I mean, a lot of them are used to it. I mean, would you rather you and your boys plan something last minute, or do you want a last minute script shoved in your face? Say, here are your lines. Here, say this. Go.
Yeah, I guess, and look, that's the freewheeling nature of AEW. It's just like the anxiety I get, like, of having all those names and not knowing. And like, also, like, you got to let the audio guy know. You got to let the lights people know. Like, a lot of things have to be put in place for something like this to be executed. So I want to know more about this story, about how the end of All Out was put together so last second. All right, well, here, a couple comments here about Adam Cole before we get to some more AEW All Out stuff. Polio Del Mar, Twitch is making him big money. All these stars are able to gain significant cash that way. Yeah, as much as he wants to talk about that wonderful community he's created, I'm sure there's quite a bit of good downside as well. Let's see here. We have X Pizza Wings. Vince doesn't want anyone making money outside of him. Yeah. There's probably some truth to that. He is very much likes his monies. We have who else do I have here? Okay, we have Antonio Garcia. they're worried about social media because they don't want to lose a talent in a major storyline because they said something considered politically incorrect. Okay, I guess that's one of the Twitch things. They don't want you out there just kind of going Randy Orton style, off script there a little bit. Right? We all remember what Randy said, right?
Yeah, never forget.
Never forget. Never forget. A lot of people here. Well, Eric Clark just saying Adam Cole, baby. Dave Langer, they didn't want it getting out, so they waited until the last minute to tell everyone the plan. Okay, maybe they had a plan and they waited to lay it out, but it sounds like there were some people being involved. I don't know. We'll find out about it more in time. Okay, another big moment here from All Out. CM Punk defeated Darby Allin in his return match. Punk and Allin began the match with what was later, it looked like a tribute to the WWE Raw match between Sean Waltman and Bret Hart. And I'm going to record with Sean here in about, I don't know, hour and a half. So we'll get Sean's reaction this week to that. He did put out a little gif applauding them both. But Darby Allin, CM Punk, this was CM Punk's first match back. I don't know who the guy in the press scrum was. I didn't quite catch who it was. I can find out. But it was interesting. Like, first of all, before I get to my little story, how did you think Punk's first match came across with Darby Allin back in the ring?
I enjoyed it. It was a really good first match. It paced well. I love the throwback. I love anytime there's a throwback to a Bret Hart match.
Right.
It warmed my heart. I know I saw some people hating on it because people will hate, but I think for a first match back, 7 years, it moved well. It told a story. Darby Allin still looks great. If no one's ever seen him wrestle before, they're like, holy crap. Every time he did any sort of offense, people in the room are like, oh, man, who's that dude? He's crazy. I thought it was great. I like the finish. I like how it all worked out. What about you, Nick? Did you like it?
I thought it was great. It was a slower match than I was expecting. But like Punk trying to get back to those ROH pure wrestling roots, kind of stuff. I understood it. I thought it built well. I mean, the GTS there at the end hit exactly how it was supposed to be. Darby doesn't look any worse. The Sting moment was great. There was just this moment in the scrums where I forget who it was, asked Punk, like, how was it? How did your game feel being in there after not wrestling for 7 years? He's like, oh, it felt really good. Kind of felt natural. I thought it looked good. And he kind of like motioned to the guy, and the guy goes, yeah, except maybe your cardio. And then Punk just was like, F you, and then just turned away, took the next question. And the balls to go in the scrum after CM Punk's return match and to his face insult his cardio for that bout, brother man. That ain't it. And look, I'm not saying don't ask hard questions and don't be candid, but that ain't it, man. That ain't how you do it.
Not at all. No. Anybody unless you're a sprinter, you should not be saying anything about anybody's cardio. It's too often that it's like guys who don't work out sit there like, this guy's his cardio sucks while eating pizza. What? Yeah. I don't think his cardio it was his first match back. I think that happens anytime I watch a match. Something to notice, if you watch a part-timer coming back to wrestle somebody who's been wrestling every week for the year, you notice that one person's always sweating a lot more and the other wrestler looks dry as a bone. That's just the thing. He's going to get back into that wrestling gear. God forbid, what if he got offended and was like, you know what, I quit?
Yeah. It was not the best moment of that scrum. We also have here, DX Vac saying, I don't understand why people are saying Darby was carrying Punk in that match. I agree. I thought Punk was I thought he very much held his own there.
It looked like he was calling it.
Yeah. Oh, definitely looked like he was calling it in the ring. It didn't look like they put a lot of prep into it. Of course, they knew the finish, but Dave Langer, Punk's little mannerisms during the match really sold the story of the match really well. He's great at doing the little things that add to the psychology of the match. Yeah, I thought that was very well done. And we have here Polio Del Mar. Darby picks up major rub, even in loss. So, and DX Vex saying both did. Darby put his best foot forward. Punk can still go. Given he can improve, but that's everyone. So, again, a lot of people elevated here. A lot of big players tomorrow night on Dynamite is going to be very, very interesting. And also, really big moment for the show. We got a couple more to get to here, but the Lucha Brothers defeated the Young Bucks in this absolute fire steel cage match to become the AEW Tag Team Champions. Yeah, brother, what do you want to say about this one?
Insanity.
Dude.
Oh my goodness. The Jordan with the thumbtacks on the bottom of it ruined me. First of all, I hate that they're wrestling in these like collector item Jordans, but I guess that's the point.
Right.
But my God, they were insane. My stomach, the jump off the top of the cage, I couldn't. I don't know how you felt seeing that in person. I would have looked away. I could barely watch it.
That match was special. It was a special match to watch. There was a point where there was a falsie about 5 minutes before it was over, where everybody just stood up thinking the match was over. I forget exactly what it was. And from that moment on, nobody sat down. Like, everybody watched that match the last, 5-10 minutes on their feet for that bout. It was just that over. And I thought it was a great night for the Lucha Brothers, solidified them as big players in North American scene. I thought the Young Bucks did absolutely right for them. As far as the representation issue goes in AEW, I thought having strong Mexican champions is a really great thing for them. And visibility is important. I thought there was a lot going on there. It was a very powerful, and I love the entrance. That's what I asked him about, because I just thought the entrance was so cool with the big Aztec headgear and stuff.
Loved it.
All of it, man. I thought it was a really blow away match. I think probably match of the night. I think it was probably the best match of the whole show. I don't know that anybody got the audience back to where they were for this bout. And we talked about all the debuts at the end of the show and stuff too. It kind of glossed over that Christian Cage main evented All Out against Kenny Omega, and I thought what was a better than expected bout. They weren't really there for Cage at first. It was pretty quiet. The audience dropped there for the beginning of that bout. Dude, but he got them back by the end of that bout and made this match, which historically will probably be not really thought about. It'll be more about what happened after the match with Bryan and Cole. But I thought Cage delivered, but for my money, this Cage match, absolutely match of the night.
The Cage. I was like, Christian Cage match? I got you. No. I felt the same way. Watching the main event, I was like, man, these poor guys going on last after. Anybody following that Cage match, bless you. Bless you, bless you, bless you. But the fact that we were still invested and they won us back over, I think gives them a little extra pointage in my book just because of that. But the Cage match was something just unlike anything I've seen in a while.
Manny Cesaro Miedo, finally some more representation on top at AEW. And I don't want to rag on Lucha Brothers or anything, because everybody's very positive and they're great and everything. But do you need to do the Cesaro Miedo thing 80 times in the bout? I think a couple well-placed Cesaro Miedos would maybe be better than doing it all the time. Maybe that's just me. So,
I agree.
Yes. Just we get it. Okay. Yeah. Aubrey James, all they need is to get more black performer now. Was there any representation of black people at All Out? I'm trying to think.
Yes, Swole? It was mainly with the women.
Yeah, Swole was in there. I guess that's true. Yeah.
Swole, Jade Cargill. What's her name? She was the champion. Her name escapes me.
Oh, well, you're talking about Japanese representation? You're talking about Nyla Rose?
Yes, Nyla Rose.
Yes. So, I was associated with her with Native American because she always pays tribute to that part. But yes, but on the men's side, Mark Henry, I guess, appeared. Scorpio Sky was up in the rafters. It was noticeable. Miro's white. He's Eastern European. He's Bulgarian. He's Bulgarian. It's like the Chappelle sketch. We call Miro. The white, we get Miro. Okay.
Damn. All right, how about we give you Virgil for Miro? All right, let me see.
I'll take Virgil. I'll take that meat sauce.
Hey.
Anyway. So it's just something to think about. It was noticeably, Very, very white, very white card for me. Speaking of that women's match, Ruby Soho debuted as the Joker. She won. She's earned a title shot at Britt Baker. We'll start with that. Man, when Ruby Soho, the music hit, we saw the graphic. It wasn't a sure thing that she was going to be the Joker. I kind of thought maybe it could be like a Chelsea Green or somebody else. But the fact they did it, they delivered for the women. They brought Ruby Soho in. Great moment. Have no qualms with her jumping right into the main event title picture. She brings a lot to the product. I was absolutely thrilled for Ruby to be able to do this and get to have that moment.
Same. Big moment. I always thought that she was underutilized and undervalued at her time in WWE. And watching her and Thunder Rosa go at it at the end. Woof. Oh man, I'll watch them wrestle any day of the week.
Yeah, it was the right two women to come down to with Thunder Rosa and Ruby Soho there. I mean, I don't really know what else to say other than like she's from the Midwest, beloved here in Chicago, got exactly the reaction she wanted. She got to rock that Beetlejuice suit in the media scrums that was like iconic. Like that was a really
awesome,
dope look she had going on there. I mean, just really happy for her. Julia Hart, by the way, was removed from the Casino Battle Royal. They did it by having Nyla Rose and Jade Cargill attack her during a special edition of AEW Dark. But it was also announced, and they did this on the fly at the Rampage tapings on Friday. Sky Blue, local talent. She had a match with Rio, I think, after Dynamite, and then they brought her back for Rampage, and I think it was it was Red Velvet they had her up against. And this girl, Sky Blue, first of all, she can work. I'm very, very impressed with her skills in the ring, and she connects, man. There was huge Sky Blue chants on at the Rampage taping to the point that obviously on the fly, Tony Khan came out on the stage, signaled the women to come up, and inserted her into the Casino Battle Royal. And I remember thinking to myself at the time, that's weird. He doesn't know all the women that are going to be in the Casino Battle Royal. Well, I think he did, and somebody had to be the odd person out, and unfortunately that was Julia Hart here, who I believe is only like 19, 20, so she's got years and years ahead of her. Missed opportunity here. Feel bad for that. But Sky Blue, man, I just want to put her over here real quick, was a real underdog hero of the weekend. Really got over in a great way. Yeah.
Huzzah. And huzzah to them deepening their women talent pool.
Yeah, 100%. We have Pollo Damar. Sky is so friggin' nice. We spent time together at the NWA. To congrats to her. Dave Langer, I loved Ruby's scrum. She's so happy to be in AEW and feel wanted. Yeah, it was really, really good. Samantha, Ruby will be strong competition for Britt. Absolutely. And we have a DX Vex. I said Ruby Soho 3 times and she never appeared. I'm disappointed. It's a Beetlejuice joke there. Anyway, last item here, and there was a lot to get to, right? Jericho's not retiring, QT Marshall semi-main event there with Big Show. There's a lot of other stuff. We have a full review show. You go watch it over on Wrestling YouTube channel. But there was one other surprise debut appearance for AEW. So Jon Moxley had this match with Kojima, which was a really great bout. It was wonderful for Kojima to get that moment here on a big stage in North America. I thought was really fitting for him, especially where he's at in his career. But then afterwards, out comes Minoru Suzuki, confronts Moxley, lays him out, and we're going to see Moxley Suzuki this Wednesday night on Dynamite. And I cannot stress how you need to go out of your way to be watching that match live on Wednesday night. Suzuki Moxley is going to be very, very hard hitting, and it is going to be slam banger. No doubt about it, EJ. No doubt.
I already know. I am a Suzuki gun guy. I'm terrified of him, so I love him. Yeah, that's going to be wild. I'm excited for him to be just here wrestling and just showing off. The dude's like, what, 1,000 years old, and he's terrible. He's like 50 something. I'm chilling.
Suzuki is great. The place went unglued. Another really good sign for the relationship between AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. It is interesting to me that Suzuki has like so many independent dates here in the States. I think Suzuki might become a regular part of AEW. It seems like he's here now. Like, I don't know if the New Japan roster is just going to move to North America and they're going to start doing shows here because it'll probably be easier than New Japan, but it is noticeable to me how many bookings Suzuki has here in the States, and I don't think this could be a one-off. I think we might get more Suzuki in AEW.
Good. I want to sing his entrance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. Everybody did. They were all singing it. Well, also Moxley had a busy weekend. You may have noticed when he came out for his match at Kojima at All Out, he was wearing a GCW hoodie, Game Changer Wrestling. That's because the night before at Art of War, he defeated Matt Cardona for the GCW World Championship. Before that, Matt Cardona had done an open challenge. Friend of the show, Frank the Clown, came out and lost that open challenge. And Moxley came out afterwards and I guess won the title in a match. I guess that's how it works. Couple thoughts on that real quick. First of all, Frank the Clown has fought for the GCW World Heavyweight Championship. That is not a thing I thought I would say in 2021. But here we are. Here we are, EJ. Happy for Frank.
Gives me hope.
Yeah. Gives all us hope. Gives everybody a hope, you know? Also, a lot of people surprised Matt Cardona's GCW title reign came to a close so quickly, especially with all the interest and heat around it. But this felt right. It was right place, right time. I would imagine they didn't want Gage to have the title when he lost to Jericho on Dynamite, so they had to flip it to somebody. Matt had created so much buzz, but also he's talked like twice to Sean and I on Pro Wrestling for Life about how busy his schedule is. Like, he's legit so booked. And, you know, if you're GCW, you're going to want a champion that's a little bit more available to you. Moxley's schedule with AEW allows him some more freedom that a guy that's hustling on the indies like Matt Cardona doesn't have. So it made sense. Kudos to Matt Cardona. I would have guessed he's not done in the world of GCW, but everybody wins here. I'm happy Moxley is a GCW champion. It's good for him, and it's great for GCW, and it's good for AEW, too, for that matter.
Absolutely, yeah. I heard the same thing about his schedule. He was mad busy.
Right.
It was one of those lightning in a bottle moments where they were like, oh, I didn't know it was going to be this big. Let's ride it real quick. And now if and when he comes back, it's going to be an even bigger deal.
Yeah, we have DX Vex. I'm not surprised that he lost the title to Mox. Radio 48. GCW is the best wrestling in the business. G Raver is a god. Yes, G Raver is very talented. Craig Newline. I thought the rules on AEW stars were that the only weekends they could not work was pay-per-view weekends to preserve injury. Any ideas? I think it's just discretionary, Craig. Like the way Tony kind of thumbs up, thumbs down when people can do independent bookings. There's some stuff written into their contracts about where they're allowed to work. But you know, it's very fluid with AEW. It's really if Tony thinks it's a good idea and the booking is right, then you get the booking. Really is what it sounds like. We also have Pollo Del Mar saying they are so lucky I didn't answer the open challenge. I was in the building that night. Well, hey, you know, drop that stiletto right through his eyeball. You know,
I'm saying you should have.
All right. Last AEW item before we get to some WWE news here. Bodyslam.net reporting Cody Rhodes is scheduled to make his return to AEW TV sometime this month. No word exactly on when Rhodes is going to return, but an upcoming episode of Dynamite is likely. It was also noted that there are big plans for Rhodes when he does return, and the feud with Malachi Black is expected to continue. And, dude, another highlight of this weekend, that Malachi Black-Lee Johnson match on Rampage, that is a cool entrance to be in the building for. That Malachi Black entrance is dope. It is slaps. It is hot fire. It is great.
It is all of the above.
Yeah. Craig Newline here saying, by the way, Nick, did you catch Pete Dunne's tweet after Adam Cole's debut? Any idea when his contract is up? Is he the next guy on the teases? I didn't. I'll check it out here right after this, but I heard that Pete Dunne's contract was coming up here soon, and it was kind of similar to Adam Cole's situation where they were trying to keep him. Look, if the ticket to ride is there at AEW right now, I have a feeling a lot of people are going to take that ticket. I know you might be able to make more money at WWE right now, but for your clout, for your longevity, for the history books, if there's a ticket to ride over at AEW, I think it's going to be hard for a lot of people to pass up that ticket to ride right now.
Absolutely, especially Pete Dunne is such a great hand. He could be doing more. He could be showcased more for what the talent that he really is, but he kind of gets sprinkled in. And who else is he left to fight?
dude. And like it was funny in the scrums too because I think it might have been Sean Ross Sapp asked or no, it was John Alba, I think, asked Adam Cole what it was like to be the first big NXT name to make the leap over to AEW, and Tony Khan corrected him. He's like, "You don't think 2.0 is a big name?" The former Everrise. There really haven't been that many NXT guys that have made the leap over to AEW yet. And look, Pete Dunne in AEW would just be another power move player to put in there. Again, though, it's just like a lot of the faces for early AEW that fans became attached to, you're going to just, because of what's going on now, you're going to see less of them. And if I mean, like, I feel I don't even want to ask a question because I know the question is yes. Will the fans stay for it? Yes. The fans are going to go for this ride. They've bought the ticket to ride, but it is going to be different, and it's going to create different discussions in the AWE or AEW community. And I'm all for Pete coming in. I think he'd be a great addition. I could see WWE making a hard play for him because I know Hunter and Sean love Pete Dunne.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if the ticket to ride is there, I think he takes the ticket. If I had to guess.
Yeah. Plus, he'll get to wrestle Bryan Danielson, a dream match of mine.
All right. Before we get to WWE news here, here we go. We'll read a comment. Dave Langer. Can you really make more money in WWE though when AEW makes you do less dates, lets you wrestle for other companies, and lets you go do outside things like Twitch? And that's a great point, right? Like wrestlers now are entrepreneurs. 20 years ago, you went out and you took hot dogs and handshakes for the hope of signing with WWE. Now you can make a hot dog and handshake t-shirt and maybe make more than you would by going and signing an NXT deal. And that's the truth of the matter, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. WWE, you can be fiscally maybe well off just from wrestling straight up, but they're working way more. That was a great comment.
So, all right, here's the WWE news that we'll get into here real quick before we get to some AEW scrum. So I found this interesting. PW Insider saying Vince McMahon was not at Raw last night in Miami. No word on why Vince missed the Labor Day edition. It was noted that Bruce Pritchard ran the show. And Vince missing Raw comes after he was said to be, quote, angry and loud at last week's taping. And look, it could just be Vince taking off for Labor Day, but that doesn't really seem like his thing. Could be he had other commitments. I don't know. But I have to believe that this is got to be a moment of reflection for Vince. I mean, it is undeniable. You're losing the narrative. I don't have any notes here on our run sheet about Raw last night.
Yeah, I noticed. I was like,
There's nothing we're going to talk about in this block right now about Raw. There was nothing that happened on Raw. Nothing of note, nothing newsworthy, nothing buzzy. And, oh, yeah, correct me.
No, I'm trying. I'm thinking.
Right? There was no real news coming out of Raw last night. This feels like a kind of heartless product at the moment. Doesn't really have a soul. It just exists. It's very bright and well packaged, but it doesn't really have an identity. It is just a company that does wrestling. And I'd like to think that Vince was not there last night because he was at home looking in the mirror and really taking in what is happening right now and hopefully preparing to make some changes. And it is a long time. It's been a long time of talking about if, what, when is going to happen when Vince steps down or whatever. It's time. I mean, even I would imagine shareholders here are going to start to question, why is AEW so much more popular than your product? And it's obvious. Yeah. And I mean, maybe on like on the grander scale of like internationally, WWE has this footprint that AEW doesn't have. But guess what? AEW is moving that direction. And it's undeniable that their footprint is going to get bigger and bigger. And I don't know what they do here, man. I really don't know what the play is to call. What do you do?
Well, I mean, what would I do? I would retire happily with all of my money and go find something else to do.
But what do you do? What do you do to get WWE back into the conversation? How do you make that happen? I feel like even like a well-hyped SmackDown with Brock Lesnar and Edge Rollins, it doesn't feel like I'm attached. Like it's cool, but I'm not invested.
Yeah, and that's SmackDown is their like last beacon of light. I feel like that's going on. They need to, and I don't think they should just overall just shake everything up backstage, but there's a lot of older people in charge that are out of tune. I think that there needs to be more of an integration with the younger people and the older heads that are working together and meeting in the middle instead of, this is how we've always done things. Welcome to this job. Do it the way I say, which never works well because the younger people will say, oh, we should be doing this, this, this. And the people who are out of touch will say, no, we shouldn't until it's too late.
Yeah.
We've seen this happen way too many times.
And I see. Oh, first, I'll go with Dave in. Dave in saying shareholders just noticed the profits are up, baby. And look, Dave, you're absolutely right. The profits are up. And this is the time where you need to really do something to grab the crowd again, because in 2 years, your TV contracts are up. And if there is an offer to buy from NBC Universal, which seems like the most likely suitor, I take that offer and I run. Because I think if you don't, you're not going to get that window again to do it. Because as AEW grows and becomes more influential, I do wonder, from a shareholder's perspective, a TV network perspective, you know, you got two companies to choose from. Who do you want to spend your money on? That's going to be a conversation to be had in 2 years. If WWE does wind up getting bought out by NBC, that Fox deal is done. And now we're having a conversation about, does AEW become something that Fox wants to bid against Turner or Warner Media for to bring AEW to Fox? And you're right, Dave. Shareholders notice those profits, and they're probably going to peak at that sale. I mean, WWE gets sold, that stock's going to go through the roof, and everybody's going to get out. And I don't know what WWE looks on the other side of that. So that's how the financials play into it. Raheen Ashimi saying, should Triple H take a more leadership role on Raw or even SmackDown? Would that help? It would help if Vince showed him respect. And I don't want to be like too catty or pretend I know the dynamics of Vince's and Hunter's relationship, but like it would seem that Vince does not have the faith in Hunter to make, you know, big decisions that he once did. And it you know, Heyman, Bischoff, Hunter, whoever you put in that position, unless Vince completely steps aside or puts full faith in them like he has Nick Khan with the books, I don't think anything's going to change. I don't know that it helps anybody.
But he should. Like, what is he holding on to? I understand that this is his baby, his child, but he's at a point now where he's been doing this for damn near 40, 50 years. Okay, man. You're already on a high. You're winning. Go find something else to do. Go plant a tree. Make a bagel.
Mitch Tunar, WWE needs to bring the F back. That's good. That's really funny. I like that idea. Dino Garofalo. I think WWE has to make one roster again and have big-name wrestlers work both brands so we don't get as many rematches. Roman on both brands would please both USA and Fox. I mean, maybe, but it's just such an admission of like defeat once again. Like, you should be able to have two shows with two rosters that tell compelling stories. Like, that model should work. Like, the fact that you don't have enough stars to do that is an indictment of your creative, EJ.
Yeah. You can't just collect pieces and not do anything with them. And that was after what we say a few weeks ago. They were like, yeah, we could do Raw for 4 to 6 hours. Let's go. And it was like, no, you can't. Absolutely not.
BWO, good friend Brian Wool, he'll be here tomorrow. WWE needs an overhaul and booking strategy entirely. Eliminate the repetitive matches. Highlight the gems of the company, the women's division, superstars of color, and play to the roster's strengths. Yeah, it all seems pretty simple. You know,
it's always simple. Yeah.
Dude, these repetitive matches, though, man. Like, I saw it was Raj and Justin yesterday being like, can we get replacements for this Raw reaction show we have to do? Because everything they were promoting was like a rematch or whatever this gauntlet tag match was with the whole show. I mean, an hour and a half. hour and a half that program was taken up by this one long gauntlet match. Nothing says to me we are filling time until we figure out what is happening here. We're going to do an 8-team gauntlet match that spans over half the show.
It makes no sense why they're doing this. And then they show this 18 rematches. And then right after the rematch, you're going to get a replay for what happened last week or the match from 5 minutes ago. And they're just pumping it with filler. Why? There's nothing there.
Well, here's an interesting note. So the Observer saying Gable Steveson, Olympic gold medal winner Gable Steveson, his next destination is WWE. Now, he teased on social media he had signed a contract, didn't reveal where. Steveson could return to the University of Minnesota, but it's not clear if he's done there. He had also been in talk with Dana White of the UFC. Of course, his brother is part of the new Performance Center class. Is one man enough to turn the tides? Maybe. I don't know. Steve Austin and Rock, were able to kind of help win it back for them. This guy's a big deal, and he's taking the big money deal for Vince. I don't know how a Gable Steveson does for WWE. The guy's got to deliver. He's got to have character. He's got to have personality. That's what Kurt Angle told us when we talked to him last week for the show.
Yeah, he's going to have to come in and move things in a way that hasn't been done before. So if he's a naturally charismatic dude, sure, but that's going to be a lot of pressure and a lot of hope on a guy who hasn't worked a professional sports entertainment wrestling match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's when we were talking to Kurt last week, I said, well, look at Riddle. He's made the transition from UFC to WWE. And Kurt was like, well, he has a character. He does the bro thing, right? Vince is like, oh, cool. You're a color I can paint with on my palette. I understand you're a character, right? You're the stoner, right? Well, Riddle here, according to the Observer, now he's got heat over his recent comments about Roman Reigns. He went on Bleacher Report. He talked about how Reigns wouldn't be where he's at unless he was related to The Rock, and he's not that special. He's not really a needle mover. And so while there was some speculation that maybe Riddle's comments were a work, it was confirmed that this was not storyline related, was very much considered negative by many people, with the idea that Riddle is incredibly talented, more than he gets credit for being, but he's not very astute politically in the company. And wake up, man. Like, this right here is your answer how to flip it back on AEW. Let the talent speak their mind. When you create these animus and people are like, holy hell, now I want to see a Riddle Reigns match. I don't know, maybe think about giving it to him. Mind explosion.
So wait, if people pay for tickets, we should give them what they want?
Or let our professional wrestlers who know how to build to wrestling matches and tell stories, like, I don't know, be creative, come up with compelling stuff that people want to tune into. Oh my God.
I love that, like, Riddle just constantly just foot in his mouth with every interview. He's like, yeah, whatever, Seth Rollins, Goldberg, And they're like, dude, what are you doing? I think it's hilarious, though.
Samantha QT, how sad is it they had Jeff Hardy going for the 24/7?
Oh, Samantha, I don't want to talk about it.
Reggie's the most over thing on Raw, right?
Yes.
Reggie is the most entertaining over thing on Raw. There's nothing else. So, all right.
Sorry, Lily.
Sorry, Lily. Oh my God. Pin drop when that effing thing came out. All right. Right? Ugh. All right. Well, it appears that Bronson Steiner, the son of wrestling legend Rick Steiner, might be on the verge of making his debut on NXT. On Friday, he took to Instagram, posted a picture of himself in his tights with a leather vest, teased that he's bound for NXT. Carmelo Hayes, who recently defeated Odyssey Jones to become the 2021 NXT Breakout Tournament winner, responded to Steiner with "on the way," hinting at the second-generation wrestler's NXT debut. I don't know why, but this was like one of the top 3 stories of the entire weekend, including all the all-in stuff. So people, for whatever reason, very excited about this particular wrestler's impending debut in NXT, the son of Rick Steiner.
That's dope. I didn't expect that for, I don't know, maybe because he's a Steiner? But even the Steiners are like,
He's got a good look, He's big.
Yeah.
He's a Steiner. So I guess, Steiners, dollar bill. That's where the money's at. All right. Lastly here, before we get to Punk Tony and then the mailbag, which I horribly botched. I apologize. This is a big day. Shouldn't be doing that. WWE filed to dissolve WWE UK Holdings Limited on August 25th. The NXT UK brand is not going to be affected by this. You should remember last week we talked about how the the WWE Japanese LLC or LTD or whatever also shuttered. Like I said last week, they had big plans for expansion pre-pandemic. They were going to put performance centers in Japan. They were going to put them in the UK, probably India, maybe China. It seems like they could work with that government. This is all a domino of that plan not happening. I still believe that these plans will play out over time, but for right now, it makes no sense for them to be making these investments, holding these companies, spending the money to keep these companies running when there is no company to be. This is only temporary, much like the WWE Japan offices and LTD. I think that all of this will be back sooner than later. Maybe not sooner than later, but at some point. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, once things are safe. I mean, everything's in like a maybe. So I think that everyone's just kind of adjusting and just living in this maybe of things and not trying to settle things too hard. Cement is what I'm going to cement anything.
All right, everybody. That brings us to the mailbag portion of the show. EJ, thanks for talking the news today. And once again, thank you to AEW for allowing me into those scrums. I know a lot of you really enjoyed the coverage I got, the questions I got to ask in the scrums. Thank you all for that support. Punk, Tony, and the Lucha Brothers. It was fantastic to get to present your scrums here today. And tomorrow on the show, again, we're going to have Ruby Soho and Adam Cole Bebe. Oh, before we get to the mailbag, did you notice how they opened up Raw with Xavier Woods saying it's Monday Night Raw, Bebe? Did you catch the Adam Cole riff right up top?
Yeah.
Dude.
Xavier Woods, man.
Just wave the white flag. Jesus. Oh, my God. This is your marquee brand, and your first thing is this petty little Adam Cole dig? Oh, my God.
Yeah, man.
So, and also on that, Bronson Reichsteiner, I like this comment from Dino. As long as Bronson doesn't come out eating Alpo, his dad's the dog gremlin. It's a thing. It's a thing that Vince would have him do, maybe.
Let's not don't put the energy out there because it'll happen. Or he shows up eating Scott Steiner's Shoney's. He's like, oh look, there's food here.
So today's poll question, pretty straightforward. There's been 4 big signings in AEW here in the past week and a half. So which one of them most excites you? Is it CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson? The last time I'll ever say Daniel Bryan was today, and I misspelled it. It's Danny Bryan. Just shat all over Bryan Danielson here in my spelling. Sincerely apologize. Adam Cole or Ruby Soho. Over 800 votes, and I hadn't looked at it, but I am fascinated by the results here. 32.9%. The winner, the most exciting signee, Adam Cole. Right behind him, 30.7%, CM Punk. Right behind him at 29.8%, Bryan Danielson. And in last, the 4th place, with only 6.5%, Ruby Soho. And you know what? I get it. Ruby wasn't as big of a name in WWE. A lot of people don't know her full potential. I think that's a little low than even I was expecting, right?
Yeah.
And then, Radio 48 here saying Suzuki tops them all, but I don't know that he's signed. These 4 have signed, at least in some form or fashion. So of the 4, which one most excites you, EJ?
I'm a huge Bryan Danielson head, so that's who I voted for. I want to see more matchups. There's so many, the style that he has would just mesh perfectly, and there's so many people that I would love to see him go against. I think that'd be fun. My heart vote is to Ruby Soho because I think she's going to be the injection the women's division needs at AEW.
Yeah, I go Bryan. Bryan, Ruby, Punk, Cole. The winner here, and it's not that I have anything against Cole. He's with the Elite. He's a great performer. I'm more invested in the other 3, I guess, than Adam Cole at this point, and that is absolutely something that could change. I'm with you, Bryan Danielson, all the way. I think that Bryan's gonna. I think his heart's there. I think his head's there. The desire's there. A lot of dream matches. Punk. I think that at YYC Wrestling here over on Twitter said, interesting that Punk is 3rd in the poll. He was the biggest thing ever 2 weeks ago. It's like I said up top, man. It is going to be very interesting seeing how you balance 3 big names coming into your brand all at the same time. I'm very, very interested to see what happens.
It's a big ring circus. Yeah, I'm even shocked I didn't vote for CM Punk. I'm excited to see him. I'm so happy to see him. But Daniel Bryan, man, he paints a different match when he wrestles.
We'll read a couple comments here, and then we're gonna wrap it up here for today. Antonio Garcia, Adam Cole, Bebe. He's in his prime and has potential to transcend wrestling behind Cody. I don't know. I'd have to see him on screen. I don't know that I've seen Adam Cole like act. Like Cody does like judging and has got that look and very charismatic.
Yeah.
He's an arrow. We'll see. Punk is like more behind Cody, I would think, or in front of Cody. I'm not really sure. Punk's been doing more mainstream stuff in movies and TV.
Yeah.
Let's see here. DX Vex. Yeah, I expected Soho to be higher. I did as well. Tim Last. All three men are 32 or over. I don't think people can crap on WWE's age roster anymore. Let's just face it. Both companies have an older roster.
Is that old?
32. I'm 36, bro. I mean, by wrestling standards, I mean, yeah, you have less time on your. But all of these guys, I mean, Punk and Bryan, 2-3 years. I agree with that. I don't think we see them 2-3 years still wrestling. Maybe Bryan a little longer. Punk for sure. I don't think 2-3 years. But Adam Cole's got a decade in front of him. You know, and AEW does a better job focusing on younger talent. Darby Allin was on that show. Looked like an absolute star last night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Young Bucks, Lucha Brothers, all very young talent there. They went out there, put on banger matches. There are older stars. It's a mix. WWE definitely older, 100%.
Yeah.
They're Raw. Like you guys, like a 35 or older to be on Raw anymore, kind of deal.
Only if you're a guy. All the women have to be. They can't be over 30, or then they're called piggy.
Samantha, thank you. You're still young, Nick, and DX Vex. Ouch, my ego took a hit. I'm 30 years old. So anyway. All right. Hey, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Great Tuesday episode here. Wonderful to kind of get to reflect. We're not done. We're going to have the rest of the AEW scrums playing out throughout the week, so come back for those. I'll be back with Brian Wall tomorrow. If you like Wrestling Inc. Daily, support WrestlingInc.com. We're on all the socials. And tune into the Wrestling Inc. podcast. That's at night after the big shows, including tonight, NXT, where you can watch more punditry, engage, join the chat room, all that wonderful stuff. EJ, anything you want to plug, promote over here to wrap up the show today?
Man, yeah, be happy. Choose happiness. Also, remember, you can like more than one wrestling company and watch more than one. It's not a this or that. It can be all. Mm-hmm. Enjoy it and eat all the bagels.
Eat them all. Gobble them up. Also, if you like this show and you like me podcasting and stuff, we have a huge episode of Pro Wrestling for Life dropping tomorrow. We're going to have Mick Foley and Bully Ray on talking with Sean. Yeah, dude. Both of them. Separate interviews, not together, but we got Mick and Bully with Sean Waltman tomorrow. We're blowing it out. We're going all out over at Pro Wrestling for Life. So go subscribe to that show as well. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I am at Nick_Hausman. I will talk to you tomorrow. And remember, if you winked, you didn't miss it.